reflect on the superb, efficient election intelligence dashboard that we have at India today, something that we are only going to evolve in days to come as we get closer to the Bihar election. But take a moment, viewers, and reflect on how the map of Bihar actually panned out when it came down politically to 2020. We're not going to get into alliances because, if you actually look at it, and Dr. Manisha Priyam and Rajdeep will be able to reflect on it more. Because the last 5 years, Rajdeep and Ms. Priyam, what we've actually seen is, other than the new Suraj party, every political party has been in power in the state of Bihar, where the, shifting alliances, breaking of alliances, forming of new alliances is concerned. But take a moment to reflect on the total number of seats and what the results were in 2020. 243 seats. The NDA then had 122, the MGB at 114. Of course, this is what happened in 2020. Come August 2022, this chart, viewers, looked dramatically different, primarily because Nitish Kumar broke alliance with the NDA and joined the RJD and the Congress, only to break it right before the 2024 election. So a lot of water has flown down the Kosi, which is already in spate right now where the state of Bihar is concerned. But take a moment, Rajdeep, to also reflect on how close the margins were then. And a party like Suraj party, we talk about the X factor, where it comes down to Prashant Kishor. How much of a factor could he actually play into? One quick look at less than 5,000 in terms of the winning margin, less than 5,000. 52 seats were less than the 5,000 margin. So a Prashant Kishor can actually come in and play spoiler. You reflect back, Dr. Manisha Priyam, to the LJP. The LJP in 2020 went it alone, might have only won 1 seat, but there were 36 seats across where it contested on, where it polled then more than the winning margin. Being the X factor of 2020 was the LJP. How big a political force, untested right now, can Prashant Kishor actually prove to be in a political topography, Rajdeep, where over 52 seats were actually won with a margin of less than 5,000. Rajdeep, what do you make of now, of what we've been speaking of ad nauseum in the studio and outside, the X factor? And I would reckon the biggest X factor, even more than the Mahila vote, could very well be Suraj and Prashant Kishor.
I'll just give a quick comment before Manisha takes over. Look, when you have someone like Prashant Kishor contesting an election for the first time, it's very difficult to gauge just what kind of support is he going to get, because there is no backstory that you can lean on, no history that you can lean on. Yes, you're absolutely right that in 2020, to some extent, Chirag Paswan became that X factor because he disrupted the NDA alliance. He, in a way, targeted, many believe, the JDU seats, and thereby the JDU seats came down very sharply to just 45. So the real hit was taken by the JDU, and the RJD benefited as a result. Now Chirag is very much in the camp of the NDA. But Prashant Kishor is a bit of an unguided missile, because we don't know what kind of candidates will he put up. Will he put up candidates who can defeat Nitish Kumar? Will he put up candidates who can take on the Mahagathbandhan? Does he want to occupy the opposition space, or does he actually want to be kingmaker? We are not very clear with what Prashant Kishor actually wants in this election. Yes, he is
Prashant Kishor is very clear.
Young
yeah,
voters who maybe are tired of the old.
He is very clear. Now, we don't know how much this is political posturing.
He may be very clear, but look, given the fact that you've had 30 years where 2 major alliances or 2 major leaders have dominated, a third leader suddenly emerging, can he really take over Bihar? Okay. I mean, NTR could do it with his Telugu Desam in 1983. And Arvind Kejriwal, to some extent, could do it in Delhi, which is really a city-state. You're now talking of Bihar. Across Bihar, can he cut across the caste fault lines? Can he get at least 10 to 15%? If he gets more than 10%, Prashant Kishor will be an X factor in this election. So 10%.
But 11%, Rajdeep, is what Prashant Kishor Suraj party got in the by-elections. They might not have won anything, but 11% was the vote share that Prashant Kishor got in the recently held by-elections. Of course, by-elections are very different than when an actual election takes place. We are back with Rajdeep, Maria, and Dr. Manisha Priyam as well, especially reflecting on what possible role will Prashant Kishor play. But let's listen in right now to Prashant Kishor's last interview to us, where he actually said Either it's Arsh, either it's the pinnacle where he forms the government, or it's Farsh. Because if he gets anything in between, he will not be part of any coalition, or what many seem to subscribe and give him the idiom of the kingmaker. Listen in. प्रशांत जी, अगर वोट दे दिया, क्योंकि आप दो चीजों की बात करते हैं, आप अर्श की बात करते हैं और आप फर्श की बात करते हैं, मान लीजिए कहीं बीच में रह गए,
नहीं रहेगा,
अगर रह गए, मतलब डेफिनेटली देखिए, फिर ये गॉड कॉम्प्लेक्स है, कैसे पता होगा कि नहीं पता, आप कुछ वो भी हो सकता है, ये भी हो सकता है, ये भी हो सकता है।
नहीं, हेड और टेल होगा, बीच में सिक्का खड़ा कैसे रह जाएगा?
अच्छा, अगर मान लीजिए
आप कह रहे हैं नहीं, बीच में सिक्का खड़ा रह जाएगा,
मान लीजिए कुछ
खड़ा
10,
रह जाएगा
15,
तो
25,
हाँ ठीक है, तो उसको
हाँ।
हाथ से गिराकर फिर एक साइड कर देंगे। मैंने कहा है कि मेरी कोई दिलचस्पी इसमें नहीं है कि मैं विधानसभा में पक्ष विपक्ष में बैठूं। अगर सरकार बनाने का एब्सोल्यूट मेजॉरिटी नहीं मिली, डिसाइसिव, नॉट 123, डिसाइसिव मेजॉरिटी नहीं मिली, तो फिर से जहां है वहीं से रहेंगे। रोड की राजनीति कर रहे हैं, रोड की राजनीति करेंगे, विपक्ष में बैठने का कोई।
इट्स अ स्ट्रांग स्टेटमेंट दैट यू आर मेकिंग, पर आप ये भी कहते हो कि अगर मेरे 10-15 अगर आए, मैं बोल दूंगा जहां जाना है
जाओ।
पर ये इतना आपके लिए मेहनत की,
कोई कुछ नहीं। मैंने क्या कहा कि 10, 12, 15, 20, अगर आप जो कह रहे हैं, अगर ऐसा हो गया, आज जीत के आ गए, मैं उनको कहूंगा या तो भाई मेरे साथ 5 साल फिर रोड पर रहो, और नहीं अगर तुम्हें क्षमता है तो जिसमें जाना है चले जाओ, हम तो फिर रोड पर ही शुरू करेंगे।
तो आप रिजल्ट के पहले यू आर कंप्लीटली रूलिंग आउट एनी पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ अ कोलिशन ऑफ यू बीइंग पार्ट ऑफ इट, वो कभी नहीं होगा?
इम्पॉसिबल, न चुनाव से पहले, न चुनाव के बाद, न 2025 में, न 2029 में। मेरे जीवन में अब कोई ध्येय नहीं बचा हुआ है इस कालखंड में। मैं इतना ही चाहता हूं कि बिहार सुधरे। अगर उसको सुधारने का मौका नहीं मिला तो फिर देखेंगे, दूसरा कुछ करेंगे। क्या जरूरत है बिहार में रह के 10 MLA लेकर राजनीति करने की?
But whatever the result is, whichever side, A, you've made clear that you will be part of no coalition. Number two, it doesn't arise. Number two, whatever the result is, Prashant Kishor will live to fight another election.
5 साल तो रहना ही है। 10, मैं अपना जीवन 10 साल में जीता हूँ। मैंने ये पहले भी कहा हुआ, आपके रिसर्च टीम ने शायद ये मिस कर दिया। मैं 10 साल यूएन में था, 2001 से लेकर 2011 तक, और जब मैंने यूएन छोड़ा तो वहाँ पर ठीक अपने हिसाब से, अपने पेडिग्री, अपने बैकग्राउंड के हिसाब से अच्छी जगह पे था, बहुत अच्छी जगह पे था। 2011 से लेकर 2021 तक मैंने जो काम किया, जिसको आप लोग कह रहे हैं कंसल्टिंग, राजनीतिक रणनीतिकार, व्हाटएवर, जब उसको छोड़ा उस समय उसके टॉप पर थे। बंगाल और तमिलनाडु उस दिन जीते थे जिस दिन मैंने रिटायरमेंट की घोषणा की है। अब 10 साल मैंने अपने लिए निकाला है कि मुझे बिहार को देना है। 10 साल देंगे, घबराइए नहीं। जैसे लोगों ने यूएन में माना, जैसे लोगों ने चुनाव विशेषज्ञ के तौर पर माना, वैसे लोग बिहार में भी मानेंगे। आप चिंता मत कीजिए।
चिंता तो आपको करनी है, मुझे थोड़ा करनी है।
कोई चिंता नहीं है यार, हम तो आराम से बैठे हुए हैं।